Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Danzig, and I'm delighted to have you all here for another Monday night of wellness stories. If you're here, you're probably looking for a solution or for inspiration of how you can have more energy, better health, preventative health. If you have your health, we always want to keep our health. Maybe you're tired of being tired. Or of having some sort of discomfort in your body. So what we're all about tonight is, what we're all about tonight is offering natural solutions, and you're going to hear from people that are associated with Nikken, which is the company, either as consultants or as happy customers. And so we're going to have 4 stories tonight. And keep in mind that if you are someone, if you're a guest, then make sure that the person that invited you has your email so that they can send you additional resources to follow up. And keep in mind that we do this every Monday night. So if you hear a story that inspires you, we'd love for you to come back next week, and come back every Monday night would be great, and invite friends and family that you think would appreciate this information. So with that said, we're going to start with Pam, and Pam is going to be sharing a story about, we don't talk about conditions, so she'll kind of describe it, but it's one of those things that sometimes when it affects your energy and you kind of hurt all over, I think probably. And so anyhow, and the other thing that I forgot to mention is that sometimes you might hear one product that someone is talking about and the benefits they've gotten from that. And it could be a whole array of products, because what we really offer as a collective is what we call a wellness home. And that's where we get to create an environment that is optimal for having great energy and our bodies being in the very best environment to function at its very best. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Pam, to share a story.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sherry, and thank you all for tuning in. As always, I'm happy to share my story. I kind of hate to go back 23 years. It wasn't such a fun decade in my 30s for me, but I know that there are people out there with similar situations that I was dealing with, and that's why I share this story. Nikken means so much to so many of us, particularly with our 5 pillars of wellness. So our healthy body, healthy mind, healthy family, healthy finances, healthy society. And I tell you, even though I was preventative minded, and as a dental hygienist, we are preventative minded, I thought I was doing the right things and living the right life, and I still had some issues. Nikken happened not to me, Nikken happened for me. And what a blessing. I always say it's in the top 5 things that have occurred in my life. Nikken is definitely on that top 5 list. Before I found Nikken, I was dragging myself through the days. I was exhausted all the time. I had a head that just, oh my gosh, I wanted to just hold it together because it felt like it was going to explode. And that was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my hands were cold. Okay. I couldn't really feel much in them. And my grip strength was going away. Kept me up at night. I had problems. My neck and my shoulders were just stuck. And I only had this much range of motion. And that's really hard to drive when you're like that, much less try to work. I had a 6-year-old at the time. He was 6. And he got the worst of me when I got home. And I hated that. I didn't want it to be that way. But I attended a continuing education course. And the title of it was Stress in the Dental Office. Well, if you all think you're stressed when you go into the dental office, you have no idea that the people in the office working, and I've been a dental hygienist proudly, I'll say for 45 years. I didn't think I'd still be doing it that long, but my patients won't let me retire. So I get to balance it all. But as a hygienist, believe it or not, the stress that comes from the repetitive motion is horrible for us. And that was never brought up when I was in, school or training. Nobody ever mentioned that. But at the meeting, I learned, things that could help you have a less stressful time in the dental office. And one I put on immediately was one of our wristbands, and then a power chip, that I put in and put on my right hand because I needed this hand back. Why did I do it? Well, my gosh, why not? I had spent so much money trying to make myself better that I really wasn't making any money. It was all going to help Pam. But by the time I put it on, listened to the presentation, walked to my car, and I had a key at that time, and I went up, put the key in the lock to unlock it. Now, previously, this is how I did it because I needed my left hand to work with my right hand. I walked up, I turned the key. And I remember standing in the parking lot going, oh my gosh, that didn't bother me to turn the key. And I knew then that God had answered my prayers and he had me on a whole nother path. He had given me the golden key to the jail that I had been trapped in, being exhausted and just falling apart at the seams. They called me a train wreck when we used to have meetings. And I had the solution. It was all right there, starting with my wrist. The next day, I couldn't wait. I ordered the M-Strides or the power pads to help me because I also had issues in my feet. But in 2 weeks with those two products alone, this problem up here in my head was 50% better, 50%. I mean, I thought I can live life like this. I couldn't live life like I was before. This is not a hard science. Man hurt, man put on magnet, man feel better. Thank you, Brody Craney, for those great words. Simple, but that's about as deep as it really gets. I also knew that God had given me my next profession, not a job. And I never looked at dental hygiene as a job either, but it wasn't a job. Our Nikan business is a joy to us. So that job is a joy, if you want to look at it that way. Day by day, as the weeks added on, my problems faded away. I kept adding more products. I added for myself. I added for my son who needed them because he was having problems in school. And that's another day. We'll go into that. But each time I added something, I had them on me, around me, and in our home. We all got better. Nikan was and still is a solution for me. Good sleep, good air, great nutrition, perfect water, and daytime products to keep me strong. I gained, by adding Nikan into our world, my hand function back, my profession, I could keep it even though I knew I didn't want to do it till I was old and gray. And the relaxation I had in my neck and my shoulders, it was just such a relief. Then, of course, this just kept getting better and better and better. And so I knew that I was getting balanced inside. My energy level returned to what it should have been 10 years prior, and I liked that. My high school friends said, oh my gosh, she's back to the way she was in high school. So that probably is, I probably still have a little bit of that in me too. My positive attitude returned. The stinking thinking went away because I was thinking, what was I good for? I heard all the time, da, 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 da. So I could walk barefoot again. All right, that was a plus. I could breathe clearer now, and that was really good too. No pressure stuff in here. And I stopped falling asleep at the wheel on the way home from work. Isn't that a good thing?
That's a really good thing, Pam.
quit falling asleep when I was trying to help my son learn to read. I could not sit there and do it because I would nod off and he would wake me up. I could get on the floor and play with him. And the best part for me, I could water ski again. And that, when you get to do something you love and enjoy, when you couldn't, you really appreciate it even more. Life was and is great with me, Ken. Okay. I get to inspire, as Sherry said, we hope these stories inspire. I get to inspire people to be healthier, healthier, or remain healthy every single day. And that brings
Awesome.
joy to me.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much.
that everybody, someone knows somebody that they can reach out and share this with, so they too can enjoy the life that Niken has given to our family.
Thank you, Pam. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Talk about a huge transformation. That's incredible. Next, we're going to hear from Barb, who's got a story about what we call CM Cream. My house, we call it Magic Cream. Please share.
Well, I call it Miracle Cream. There it is right there. I've had a chronic joint condition since I was 7 years of age. And it's aggravated by changes in barometric pressure, dampness, coldness, and so forth. But when I have discomfort, if I rub a little bit of this cream on, within 10 minutes, my discomfort is totally alleviated. But it's not, it was made for joint discomfort, maybe in sports or trauma or whatever. It doesn't just work for sore joints. If you have pressure here and across here, maybe you have, the old winter cold or something. You put some on your hands, you put some in these areas, and your sinuses will drain. No more pressure. You get a nasty mosquito bite in the summer or a bug bite of some sort. Put a dabble-do-ya on the bite, itch is gone. You're not scratching and potentially introducing bacteria into that bite. Sore throat, rub it on the throat. Now, I have also experienced the type of head discomfort that Pam was describing, where I became the filling in a pillow sandwich, lights out, door closed, tunes off. This also helps with that on the temples, the back of the neck, across the forehead. Miracle Cream, multiple uses, not just for massaging on a sore joint. Be creative because it won't hurt you. No side effects from overuse. That's it.
Thanks, Barb. Appreciate
Miracle.
that. Yeah. I couldn't play tennis without it. So I hear you. I know it's in my tennis. In fact, I realized I had 4 different containers open because I don't like having to hunt for it. So yeah, you got to keep it convenient. Next, we're going to hear from Gloria, who's got a story about one of our favorite supplements, our nutritionals.
Thanks, Sherry. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about JadeGreenzyme, which comes in a powder. Ooh, that's blurry. And it comes in capsules because there's a gentleman I live with that doesn't like the powder. So we won't throw him too far under the bus. When I was introduced to this product many, many years ago, the scientist that stood on stage talking to us talked about how it balances pH. And we know that we want to be alkaline, and this was a very alkaline product. And I knew I had an acidic condition, and it was tightening up my joints. And I figured it wasn't anything from my heritage that gave it to me, but rather the fact that I drank probably between 32 and 40 ounces of Coca-Cola every day. Don't drop over, Pam. I know I still have teeth. It's amazing. But I was teaching 3 and 4 year olds at the time. And when you're in a ratio of 24 to 2, with that much energy in a room, I sipped what I thought was the energy that I needed. I was never a coffee drinker, so I consumed a lot of Coca-Cola. Well, when I started taking the JadeGreenzymes, I realized that I didn't need that energy anymore from the liquid. And I found that very interesting. And then I noticed that things just felt a little more lubricated and felt a little more fluid. And I was like, okay, so now we're on the right path. But then I had an experience in a restaurant. And when I ask someone in a restaurant if the sauce on the sandwich is hot, because they come up with all different names for sauces, the waitress or waiter usually looks me in the eye and says, oh, no, it's very mild. And I say, let me be clear, ketchup is spicy to me. And they would go, whoa, you don't want that sauce on your sandwich. And I'd say, thank you very much. We'll leave it plain. Well, I had a mix up in an order. And I took one bite of this chicken sandwich with whatever Inferno sauce was on it. And I was ignited. I was sweating. I was blood red. The people at the table knew that I wasn't dying, so they were dying laughing at me. And finally, somebody said, don't you carry that jade with you? And I said, yeah. And they go, just put some in your mouth. So I did. I swallowed some jade. So when I think of jade now, and I'm listening to any potential client or to a customer, and they talk about any condition, I know it's stress in the body. I know that if there's anything going on, that stress is red. The body is not happy, it's angry. And if the jade cools everything down, everything goes green and calms down. I experienced this again when a 7-week-old granddaughter of mine needed surgery. And she had to go under anesthesia. And she was violently ill that night and the next day. And so I called the doctor in Nican and I said, the surgeon says, we went home. And so, it has nothing to do with what he did. And she said to me, of course they made the baby sick. They stuck a tube down her, throat and put drugs in her to knock her out. And I said, what can I do? And I said, is she too young at 7 weeks old for JadeGreenzymes? And she laughed and she said, Gloria, it's food. Put a 1/4 teaspoon in that next baby bottle and she'll be fine. And she was. Her red anger in her body turned to green calm. And the last story I'll give you is about our dog. I saw Carol's got a gorgeous dog that keeps visiting her. If you've ever owned a cat or a dog, if their stomachs are upset, they try to eat grass. They know the chlorophyll is there. This is barley grass and JadeGreenzymes. And so we just give it to our dog every morning and every night to sprinkle some on her food. And and that 7-week-old granddaughter, she's 14 now and she still drinks green milk. She loves it. So it's not just for St. Patrick's Day.
Thanks, Gloria. That's great. Yeah, I think giving your animals the JadeGreenzyme is probably the best nutrition they're going to get, certainly from their food. So yeah, it's a great preventative for our fur babies. Okay, we have one more, last but not least, is Wynn, and she's going to talk about some more of the supplements and how it helped her recover from feeling bad. Go ahead, Wynn.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'd like to share what happened to me in 2020. May I use the word I got COVID? I was shocked. I had somebody come help me paint, and she didn't know she had COVID. As a friend of mine, her daughter. And then 2 days later, she messaged me she had COVID. I said, oh my God. So 7 days later, I test negative. And then a week later, I had really bad headache. I feel like I'm about to cut my head off. The headache to the point I can't sleep at night. 3 days in a row. And then I said, well, I guess I had to go test to see what's going on. And it came back positive 2 weeks later from the incident. So I contacted Ruth and Karen and helped me. And I've been taking this supplement for years. So Ruth told me to up my Jade Green to every 4 hours, like 2 of them. And then another thing I take is immunity, keep my immune system. So I upped that to every 4 hours. And the same thing with lactoferrin. The 3 things I did for like a week. And I just had no fever, nothing, no loss in taste, except the headache and 3-day headache, and that's it. And it's just amazing. All this supplement. When you come to my house, I don't have Tylenol or leave or anything. You're in trouble. My brother come and he said, do you have any of this stuff? I said, no, the only thing I have is seeds. If you want any of this, that's all I have. It's amazing. I just came back from the mountain trip in Gallenberg. I didn't feel good up in the mountain, the air very thin, and my throat bothered me. So I just take this instead of 1 teaspoon, I take 2 teaspoons, and I was fine until I get home. So that's why I like to share. It's food, and people always ask me, "Is this what does it taste like?" I say it tastes delicious. You can mix in with the milk or whatever, almond milk or ham milk. And the immunity, I love immunity because all different mushrooms, I can't believe it, like 14 different mushrooms, and you can't beat this. And I eat mushroom, but you know, you can't believe how many mushrooms in here. It helps to keep your immune system healthy. It's very important to your health. So that's what I like to share. And I carry them with me when I travel everywhere. I don't leave without them.
I hear you. That we should have a commercial. Don't leave home without it, right?
Yes, I like that terminology.
Well, thanks. Those were 4 great stories. So appreciate everyone being here. Again, remember that we'll be back next week. If you'd love to share a story, get in touch with me somehow and let me know, because we love hearing new stories, and they just don't get old, do they? It's a real joy. It's a real joy to be able to share ways to help people feel better, have more energy, just overall, you know, we're reversing the aging process without drugs or surgery. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.